This is a piece of Osage orange a friend of mine gave me, and I'm going to make 3 8-inch plates out of it, and I'm going to engrave a picture in front of each one. It's going to be for Christmas presents for my wife and my 2 kids. So let me get them marked and I'll be right back. There they are marked for my 3 plates. I'm going to go over to the bandsaw and cut them out. This is 2 inches thick and it is well dried. So when I get them cut out, I'll bring them back and then we'll figure out how we're going to mount them. There's your 3 pieces. I just got done wrapping them in anchor seal. Probably starting tomorrow or Monday, I'll see what I can do with them. I put the disc on a small face plate, and now I'm getting ready to mount it on the lathe. Before I start turning on this orange piece of wood, I thought I'd show you a couple of little modifications I've made since my last turning. I got the LEDs in, and I installed them right here, so you can see. So whenever I switch from one potentiometer speed control to the other, then that one lights up, so I can, no big deal, but I can just quickly tell which one's active. And the other thing I did is my banjo on this Grizzly is so goshly long that my dust collector was interfering with it, and whenever I had it pulled up here, I had to just continually try to work the banjo around the base of the dust collector. So I took the big collector thing off and put a smaller one on with a little piece of hose, and this lets me get the banjo by it now. I can make it a little shorter if I need to be, and I also put some sort of handles on it so that I could have a place to attach my I call it my bowl light, and I can move it easy. It wasn't as easy to move as I thought it was going to be, but now I can use one hand on top and one hand on the bottom, and it's very easy to move now. This still does does like this, up and down. I can still adjust it down there on that hook, screw, I guess you call it. Anyway, that's I just wanted to point those out before we get on with making a little orange plate. So let's move. Well, I had a little piece break out on me right there. Luckily that's on the back side, and I was planning on cutting it up that high anyway, so no real harm done there. Well, as you can see here, I've already pretty much got past that part that popped out on me, It is actually sort of a redesign that I like. Now I'm going to go with a round nose scraper for a little while. If I can clean up some of them tool marks, I just got done putting fresh burr on it. It's cutting quite well. Now I'm going to clean it up a little bit better with a round skew that I made from scratch. This was actually a piece of car spring, and it's one of the first ones I ever made. You can tell by how small my handles are. That was before I knew what I was doing. Not to say that I do now. But it's a very effective tool. I don't really use it as a skew. I use it more as a negative rake scraper than anything, but it works well as both. I have used it as a skew. Okay, I'm going to put a recess in the bottom of this. I'm showing you here how I do it. This is a threaded MT2 adapter I put on my chuck that I'm going to use, and I screw it up to the plate just where it just almost touches. Sorry you can't see a little better. I'm going to work on my camera angles a little bit. I screw it up there where it almost touches, and then I take a pencil and I mark it like so. There's no getting it wrong this way. I like doing it this way. Don't have to mess with measuring and stuff, which I'm not any good at. So you back off and you can see I've got a perfect place right now. Cannot be wrong. I'll move my camera so we maybe could see a little better, but it looks like my hands are still in the way. I'm using the parting tool now to get my final depth here. I only make recesses about 1/8 inch deep. Especially if I've got good wood like this. If I got, pretty bad wood, I'll go deeper. And I will use a small skew, once I find it, that is, to make my dovetail, and then it'll be about time to sand it and then flip it around. Put a little decoration in the bottom there. Make it look a little neater. And there we have it. It's a matter of putting the sandpaper to it now. And we have a perfect fit. Here I brought the tailstock up. It has a live center on it to center the chuck, and I'll scoot it on up next to it and put a little pressure on it, not a great amount, just make sure it's going to sit straight, and tighten it up.
I got some good meat on this, so I can tighten it. I can tighten it pretty good without much fear of it busting out on me. No obvious cracks or anything like that. I'm getting ready to flip it around now. I sure do like that reverse variable speed. This thing runs so slow it's easy to unscrew things or screw them. There you go. So you get an idea how slow that turns. And we flip it around and do the exact same thing going the other way, real slow. And there we have it. Pretty simple. I found this is the best way to take the face plates off. Just put it on here while the chuck's on. Works quite well. Providing you can work the equipment, that is. We'll have this off in a second and we'll move on. Well, I decided I wanted to use the gouge for a while. I really prefer carbide tools, but gouges work quite well for me too. I can use either one. Generally, I just pick whichever one I think is sharpest for a given time. Right now, basically, I'm just straightening up the face of this, and then I'll start digging out the bowl. We'll do this for a little while, and we'll move on. This wood is really quite dry. I put the meter on it, and it's running about 8% or less. The gouge is sharp. It's just I'm dealing with some pretty dense hard wood here. Well, I got the bowl all whittled out now. Getting ready to do some sanding. I know y'all don't want to hear a bunch of noise, so I just make a couple points and we move on. I know I've said it before, but I'm almost exclusively a power tool guy. So very rarely you see me sanding stuff by hand. It's just efficient and quick, and I don't see any need to do anything any different. We'll watch this for a minute and then we'll move on to whatever we're going to do next. Okay, now we're going to use my second power tool. I only use the two. This is actually a die grinder with one of those little flapper wheels on it. When I'm finished with this, my finish will be equivalent to approximately 600. It's extremely efficient. My total sanding time here, I didn't really time it, but I'm going to estimate it was probably no more than 5 minutes. That includes both of them. So here again, we'll look at this for a minute and then we'll move on. Well, here I'm getting ready to wrap this first one up. This is tung oil I'm putting on it. It's one of my favorite finishes. Sort of torn between using tung oil and Danish oil. And then after this dries, I rough her up a little bit with steel wool. I generally spray some type of polyurethane spray on most of my work. This just makes it finish good. Sometimes this is as far as I go. It just depends on the type of finish I want. We'll watch the rest of this and then I think this bowl will be done.
I've made 2 of the 3 saucers or bowls or whatever you want to call them, and I'm getting ready to start the third and final one. But first, I wanted to show you a couple tricks. I've shown you some of these before, but I can say, well, go back and look. But I don't like to go back and look. I prefer to have it explained again. So let me show you a couple things here real fast. First one's on an alternative way of centering. Most of the times I use I call it a centering ruler. It's got a 0 in the center and it goes out to either side. But here's an alternative way. I use this sometimes. When I marked out this, I drew a black line all the way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to match that 8-inch line exactly on top of that other one. And there you are. There's absolutely no way I cannot be centered. So I'll draw me a little dot in there, a red dot. Now, what I want to do is compare. Now the other hole, you can see it, I already put a hole in it, it's right there, and this way is right there. So both ways are pretty accurate. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you how to do that. Move on to the next little thing I'll do. Well, I wanted to show you how I got a little bit close on these 2 plates. This is what I use. I've showed it to you in a previous video. It's really intended for ceramic tile work, doing corners. I think you can find these at Home Depot or Lowe's or someplace like that. What I do is I sit it on one of them, and you just push all these down like this, like so. And then as you can see, I'm pretty close here. I got a little bit of more angle here and here, but I've got basically the same thing. And that's how I do it. So on this next one, I'm getting ready to do, I'm going to do the outside first. I like this bowl better than I did the other one. So I'm going to use it. And press all these right into the center. Press all these down. It's even got, shows the recess. So I'm going to keep that and set it aside until I get that turned to a point.
It's almost imperative that the carbide cutters be absolutely on top dead center. If you get them above or below, they're prone to catches. That's why it takes so much pain with making sure it's right. This is my third and final bowl. As soon as I get done turning this one, I'm not going to finish it here. I will wait until later. But we're going to move on to the laser here in just a second and start drawing pictures and cutting them.
All right, that's my wife and myself. Right now I'm doing a test on a piece of cardboard. But if that's satisfactory, I'm going to move on and burn it into this plate right here. So let's see what happens in a second. Okay, we're burning her in now. I'm sure I had a lot of problem getting things seen. I even put a laser on it. Something I'm not doing right. Alright, I'll show you when you're done. Now there's the end result. I'm going to put some lettering on it and I'll show you that when I get around to it. Not too bad. Got two more to do.
Well, this is just a close-up of number 2. Seems to be going quite well. I thought y'all might want a little better view.
Now here's the final plates, lasering and all. I didn't want to bore you with lasering. It takes quite a while. I put our names on it and marriage date. This particular one here I got in just a little bit. I'll probably keep that one. But I'm going to give these to my wife and my children on our 54th anniversary this December. That's it. I'm going to do a little signature lasering on the back side of them and then they will be done. Got another little blurb I'm going to show you here in a second on finishing and a couple little things, changes I've made. So enjoy it and, you know, as usual, I would enjoy, I really like having you guys subscribe if you have not subscribed. If you know anybody that might be interested in this type of stuff, let them know that I'm around and be more than happy to see them view my work. So take care of yourself and I'll catch you on the rebound. I don't know if y'all noticed on the video you just saw, but probably saw this piece of leather flipping and flapping under me. I put this on my face shield because it just, no matter what I wore, it kept getting down in my collar and in my shirt pocket. So I put this on. It's what I do to all my welding helmets. I put a piece of leather down here. It doesn't bother anything and it's cool. In fact, I was thinking about putting it, making like a whole front apron out of one. I don't really know whether I will or not, but you never know. If you know me, you know I'm going to modify something that's just in my DNA. Well, anyway, I got me a new camera. There it is. It's a knockoff of a GoPro. I'm about $300 cheaper than a real GoPro, but I tested it and it works real fine. Has an excellent picture, so I put a mount on top of my face shield there. So the next video I'm going to try to show you what I see. And it's got a few more mounts. Here's one on a little tripod I can put the camera on. In addition to, I've got some rods up here like this. You can see that. So I'm trying to solve all my camera angles and make better videos for you guys. Another thing you didn't see much of, but I've sort of changed the way I finished plates and etc. And I was making some cleaner for my wife out of Dawn dish detergent and vinegar. Incidentally, if you don't know, 50/50 is the best cleaner in the world. And I mean, it'll clean scum off bathroom showers and everything like you wouldn't believe. Anyway, that's not the point. So I went and bought some spray bottles, and I had an extra one, and I decided to put some Danish oil in it, and here it is. It's got Danish oil, and it's clear Danish oil, and I tried it a couple of times, and it really seems to work well. I mean, it doesn't hardly waste any. I mean, here you go, like that right there. And that's it right there. And then, of course, you can take your paper towel or whatever and wipe it around, wait for it to dry. When that dries, I'll flip it over. Well, I'm going to do a little more lasering on the back side before I finish finishing the back. So that's it, and thank you.